On the Fan, the Trailblazers unable to out-tank the Jazz last night in Salt Lake City. Now they move on to Washington to face the league worst Wizards tomorrow night. The Blazers 25-33 on the season, 4.5 games out of live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny Meringue pie?
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey, welcome in. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Danny and Dusty with you. How's everybody doing? How we doing today?
Doing good.
We good?
Doing good.
Everybody survived the wind storm yesterday?
Yeah,
tornado?
You had your power knocked out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, power went out. Shout outs to the bros at PGE.
Got you up and going quick?
So, yeah, there was like this, oh boy, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
We're scrambling. Power goes out at like 3:55 at our home. We get the alert. It's like, okay, this is gonna suck. We look, we get the update from PG. It's like, your power will be restored at 7 o'clock. It's like, oh, okay. So what we got 3 hours here.
Mm-hmm.
We got a game plan for these 3 hours. We start like getting the candles, the lights, all the lamps, all that stuff. We're going, all right, figure out where we're going for dinner tonight, apparently. Then you look at get another PG update. 8 o'clock. Uh-oh. This is not looking good.
Definitely going out to dinner tonight.
This is not looking good. Another PG update. And this is like at 5:30. I look, your power will be restored at 8:45. And I was like, oh my gosh. I kid you not, 5 minutes later, power's on. Yes! Yes!
They meant to say 5:45.
You meant Eastern time?
Yeah, there you go.
You meant Eastern time? So shout outs to the bros at PG. Our power was out for... It was out for like an hour and 45 minutes or whatever.
Sucks, but it's
dude,
doable.
you can get through that.
Yeah.
You can get through that. That was great. So big ups to them. I know a lot of other people not so lucky, but we got ours up very, very, very quick and in short order. So congrats to them.
Yeah, I was in the K2 newsroom as a tornado touchdown. The Providence nurses strike ended, and apparently some minister got arrested for whooping a child with a belt that wasn't his.
The belt wasn't his?
No, the kid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither one of those are good.
Neither one is good. But all these things all happen at the same time, and I've never been in a newsroom when like a bunch of like quick breaking stories all hit within the span of 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It was pure and utter chaos. It was like, what is happening over here? Just a lot of yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
Dave Selesky, meteorologist for K2, he was my man was on a mission.
This is his Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, no, are you kidding? I went full on. Like you going, you throwing on the slicker? You going storm chasing? We gonna go see cows flying?
Selesky's had like snow and now this in like 2 weeks. This is big time for him.
Oh no, I asked him. I'm like, so like, is this like a normal? He's like, oh yeah, no, this is like the perfect pocket for this weather to occur. That's like it's a couple weeks.
That's
like,
right.
You know.
Yeah.
He goes,
Perfect pocket.
it all kind of comes together, and we're doing a little walk and talk, and I'm like, do we know where it's landing? He goes, I know exactly where it's landing. It's landing in Silverton. It's moving 40 miles an hour northeast. And I was like,
I would expect it to move faster than 40.
I mean, think about that though. Not the like the wind speeds, but like the way it was trapped. Like that's kind of insane to think about.
Yeah.
Like when you really think about something, just weather itself moving at 40 miles, like a literal tornado.
Yeah.
Moving at 40 miles an hour. Not the wind speeds around it, but like the speed of which the tornado is moving across the ground. It's like, that seems kind of terrifying.
Powerful.
Yeah, no, we managed to dodge all the all electrical issues, which is kind of crazy because when I came home from the game last night, basically all the lights on 99 between Sherwood and Newburgh and like the beginning of Newburgh were out.
Yeah.
A lot of trees
that's
down
because
everywhere.
a transformer went
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, there's a lot of. It was a very, very pitch
Yeah.
black drive on the way home.
Yeah. Weather.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Now it's
2
supposed
days-
to be
2
sunny
days in a
and
row.
like 62 tomorrow or something. Let's
There you
go.
go. Big spring, baby.
All right.
I love it.
All right. Okay. We got the Vancouver Ford Texans already upset. Given all the rate hikes over the last few years, they deserve no props at all. I'll give props to the employees, but not the company itself.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not on
I
them.
was giving the employees.
Yeah.
The employees get their props.
They've got
They did a good job.
the lineman training facility out there in Sherwood.
Mhm.
And there are very few things that I've ever seen at just first glance that are more intimidating than that. It's like the
yeah.
giant poles that they climb, and then
Yeah.
right next door is like an actual power station where it like hisses and cracks and pops, and I'm like, no. Like those guys that climb those-
Electricity scares me.
Oh no, I want no part of electricity at all, especially that. Like it's 110. 110's cool. We can work with 110 and less. We're cool. Anything beyond that, no, hard pass.
Yeah.
Those guys that climb those towers, like
Yeah.
out in the middle of the desert, they're like 300 feet tall, and they do the GoPro stuff, and I'm just like,
Mm-mm.
no. Or
Mm.
the windmill repair guys.
Yeah, the
those
guy-
guys. They're nuts.
Even
man.
the radio tower people who have to like replace the light bulbs.
Yes. There's a guy who does it, who does like the ones like out in Montana, and he squirrel suits off of it. He's a lineman who like squirrel suits off these things.
That's one of those things where it's like when
I-
he stops posting, you're like, I know what happened.
yeah. It's like, but like when you're that high, you're the whole idea of like if you've never climbed a ladder that's like more than like an A-frame, it's an intimidating thing to like climb 30 feet on a ladder. Like you just keep going and you're like, why does this feel so much higher up than if I just took stairs?
Just look up. Don't look down.
Don't look down on
Don't
a
look
ladder, man. It is not fun.
And I am not afraid of heights. I don't mind being up high,
There's something
looking
about being on a
down.
ladder though.
Yeah, but in the open air,
Yeah.
when the wind is blowing.
That's the other thing is like you watch these guys and they're like take a step, click in, take a step, click in, take a step, click in. I'm like that process when you're doing it like 1,800 times.
Yeah.
Just seems like, boy, you better be careful every single time.
Yeah, that's one job where you don't take shortcuts.
No, those guys also make a mint.
Well, yeah, because
It's
you
insanely
mess up,
dangerous.
you're gonna die.
Yeah. Touch the wrong line, you're dead. Don't
Yeah.
clip in, you're dead. Step wrong, you're dead.
Man. Ugh.
Yeah, no.
This
Just
guy-
to those guys, because those guys are awesome.
Yeah, look at these texts. My granddad was lineman back in the day, middle of nowhere, Montana, in the winter.
Oof.
Jeez, uphill both ways. Got a buddy who does it in rural Idaho and eastern Washington for cell tower repair and building. Super crazy to see the wind and snow on top of those hills. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, crazy.
No,
Like, and the windmills are even more nuts because it's like they are there because it's windy. Like, that's why they put those there.
Mhm.
Very windy.
except for the ones apparently at the top of the hill as you come into Lad Hill in Newburgh, because I've in the 3-4 years that I've lived out there now, I have never once seen them move.
Mm.
Not once.
Hmm.
There's like 4 of them at the top of the hill as you're leaving Newburgh, going back into Sherwood on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's a tax write-off, right? Like that's why they put those there. There's like,
No.
I've never once seen them move. It's very weird.
Maybe they're just fans to keep it cool,
There you go.
you know?
Never quite hot enough. It's the only there in case of heat dome.
Yeah. Dude. We had a practice one time in Hood River on our way to a state championship game,
Mm.
and we stopped, and at Hood River Valley High School, they've got a windmill just right behind their football stadium. It's a small one, and it was spinning. It was really windy. It was like 19 degrees out,
Oof.
and we had one of our players comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, coach, it's really cold out. Why do they got that fan on?" I go. I looked at him and I was like,
You joking?
"Are you serious?" Dead serious. Dead serious. I was like, "Buddy,
I love kids.
that's a windmill. That's for power.
Power generation.
That spins,
Or in the old days,
creates
mill.
electricity. Sit this one out, bud." I knew he wasn't concussed because it was non-contact
you go.
practice. We just started walkthrough.
I am an FBI agent.
Oh man. All right. Well, we are here. Things are going well.
See, Vancouver Vortex
Let's
line.
go.
All the ones in Newburgh never move.
Yeah. Well, look at that.
It's weird. I've never talked to anybody who's like, yeah, no, I've seen them run. It's weird.
All right. We had thunder and lightning last night. It was an exciting night.
I didn't see
Our
that.
basketball
I didn't see
hoop.
that.
Oh yeah, we had some of that. We had some of we had our basketball hoop fall over in the wind.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's how windy it was. Basketball hoop went over.
The weighted basketball hoop went over, huh?
Yeah, now my son was like, the rim is bent. I was like, buddy, that rim has been bent. It fell over a couple of times. You've been shooting on a very difficult hoop to shoot on
There you
for
go.
quite some time. Like, you get used to it.
Yeah,
You're fine.
You can make it here. You can make it anywhere. It's like
You're fine.
making it on the milk crate.
It's like going to the fair. My son will be money at the fair because
Nothing but swishes, baby.
that rim is not okay there.
Got some lip loops and bends in there.
Yep, that's right. You got to hit net, baby. Got to hit net. All right, let's get to it. Coming up today, we got a lot of news surrounding the NFL Combine today. Mel Kiper Jr. He has his mock draft out.
Unleashed on everybody, apparently.
I don't want people to think that it's Mel Kiper Sr.'s mock, but it's Mel Kiper Jr.'s mock draft, and it's a doozy. Boy, he's got some head scratchers, and I think that when it's a good time to reassess and address where mock drafts come from. It's about the buzz, but a lot of big takeaways that we can take from Mel Kiper Jr.'s mock draft. What is this, 1.0? This is what we're doing. This is 1.0. So we got draft and combine stuff. There's some NCAA stuff that's getting a little crazy because it's not just reports and this may happen. There are 3 really, really big stories about college athletics that we've been talking about: the death of the NCAA, the massive landscape shift and change that we will see in college sports. There's 3 stories today that truly could change the way we look at college athletics. One is in football, one is in soccer, and one is with the power conferences and how they're going to operate moving forward. So we got a ton that we got to get to, and where we got to start, the Portland Trail Blazers. They pick up a win last night.
Hey.
They started their 7-game road trip 1-0 as they beat the Utah Jazz 114-112. Not the prettiest game that we've ever seen.
No.
A win nonetheless. And oh, by the way, we're giving away Wu-Tang Clan tickets today. So get yourself right for that.
Hey.
Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Portland Trailblazers knock off the Utah Jazz 114-112 last night. Despite the efforts of Keontae George trying to chuck up threes and make it. How did he make that
On
1-3?
two, I don't know.
It
we
looked
were
like
all
a.
sitting in the office going, how on earth did that go in?
He was off balance. I thought he airballed it. Like when I first looked at it, I was like, because he didn't hit the rim, he cocked it back like behind his ear and just chucked it.
While
it-
running forward with two draped all over him like a carpet.
And it didn't look like it didn't hit rim.
No, he just threw it in the net. It was crazy.
Yeah. But despite his efforts, the Blazers end up winning 114-112. And
Thank God he was god awful in the first 3 quarters of the game. Otherwise, the Jazz might have won this game.
you say thank God for that?
I mean, if you're talking about if you're the Blazers and you want to win games, yeah. They're still in a winning games mindset. And even coming in this game, even without Markkanen and Kessler, and we talked about it yesterday, the Jazz were going to be game.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real thing.
I think that's a frustrating part for a lot of Blazer fans, though, when you watch a game like that. It was frustrating for me to watch in that Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, they're 3 best players not playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching that game going, the Blazers are missing DeAndre Ayton and, Robert Williams III, who he rarely, be honest, he rarely plays for the Blazers. And then Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah.
But you're sitting there going, if we're trying to win, shouldn't this be a little bit more of a push? Second quarter excluded, right? Second quarter, the Blazers absolutely demolished them.
It was ugly basketball.
Yeah, and Keontae George not hitting the broadside of a barn really had a lot to do with that. But you're sitting there and you're going, all right, I think that is what the Blazers fans wanted to see their season look like at this point in the year, right? 14-43, but you still have guys who are playing really damn hard and putting themselves in positions to, at the end of a game, do you have a chance? Yeah. Do you lose? Yep. And you're okay with that. You're okay with it. That's the frustrating part of watching that, being like, oh boy, and they're positioning themselves to be in a better spot to land one of the top prospects right now.
They're also, 10 games behind the Blazers. It's just a different world.
But they're still playing hard. I mean, yes, but that's where people envision the Blazers being this year, was at that spot, and they're not.
They end up being better than that.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened. You had 2 patches of winning streaks.
But that gets you to no man's land, which is the scariest place to be as a fan.
I don't think it's no man's land yet. Number 1, the draft hasn't happened. Number 2, we haven't gotten to the summer. Know what kind of comes out of this.
Well, I know, but direction-wise, if you're not in contention for the best odds to be in the top set, because look,
we keep circling back to this, and we keep hearing purgatory, no man's land, purgatory, no man's land. No, we had 7 years of purgatory. That was literal purgatory, where you have 0 chance at getting a title team without making a massive, significant move.
Well, that
was purgatory. That was hell.
What's different now, except for the Blazers don't have a star?
They have all of their assets still. They have the potential to make trades. They have the potential to get a player in the draft. And look, I would love to get Cooper Flagg, and if the odds were the way that they were in 2019. I would be ringing the bell for the Blazers to tank to the absolute bottom. But at 14.5%, I can't ring that bell and be like, yeah, that's what you need to tie your franchise to.
Well, right now, I think the frustrating part is that the Philadelphia 76ers are closer to getting Cooper Flagg than the Portland Trailblazers are.
Sure.
But and that's the God honest truth, because of the fact we've talked about this ad nauseum with the fact that if you're outside of the top 6, your odds go down tremendously.
Particularly in the top 4.
And right now, the Blazers are nowhere near that, and it's going to be, they get 5 games to make up on the 76ers, for goodness sakes.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's like, on the flip side, though, if things don't go well for the 76ers in the lottery, they lose that pick.
Yeah.
To the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah. Well, that's top 4 protected?
Top 6.
Top 6?
Yeah.
Well, now you see why they're ripping the bottom out of that thing. And they currently have the 6th worst record
They are
in the NBA.
If a single team jumps up,
Come on, Blazers.
That pick goes to the Thunder.
Come on, Blazers.
Think about what the precariousness of that situation.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's absolutely brutal. You've got an MVP on the shelf. You don't know if he's very, very, very likely having another surgery. Paul George might be cooked.
Yeah.
Your books are fried.
Yep.
You don't have any draft capital left. You basically the entirety of your franchise right now is hinging on staying in the top 6.
Yeah, but
that is a scary place to be.
But they pushed all in. They pushed all in,
and that was the thing that I beat Neil O'Shea over the head for, is that it was always half measures.
And I would much rather be in that where you're like, hey, we pushed all in, it backfired tremendously, but we tried,
sure,
we went.
I would 100% agree,
and we never got there, and that sucks. That sucks too. Like
100%.
that's a horrible place to be.
Yeah,
but at least you were like, no, this roster looks like it's a championship roster. If Joel Embiid cannot stay healthy and they attach themselves to a guy who his injury history is exorbitant, they go out and they've made some moves that you're like, what in the world? But they've tried everything from Jimmy Butler to James Harden to Paul George now. Like they've tried. Yeah, they've tried.
I mean, that's what Daryl Morey has done throughout his career. He's continually trying to make big swings, but he's also had an MVP basically every year. He's done it.
And
that part of it is the harder part to have happen.
Does it feel like Utah's, because I came away from that game, I felt like Utah's, it was like Utah's closer to landing that star and turning the corner than the Blazers are, because they are playing hard. Their coach is really good too. Will Hardy's a great coach.
He is.
And you've said this several times throughout the year, like he's going crazy with this losing and the way that it's going.
It's eating him alive. I've talked to people in Jazz front office and the media that cover the Jazz, and they're just like, yeah, no, it's eating him alive. He's going to lose his mind.
But if they reap the rewards of this,
and if they don't,
it could be pretty special.
And if they don't, if they get bumped back like the Pistons, where are they?
Well, in a loaded draft class, they're still not that far off, and they still have got a ton of draft capital because Minnesota gave up everything for Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, again, a ton of draft capital because you traded away 2 in-prime stars.
But they went, and the Blazers traded away Damian Lillard.
There's a very significant difference between trading away 33-year-old Damian Lillard and in-prime Donovan Mitchell and in-prime Rudy Gobert.
But he was the heartbeat of the franchise.
Sure, but there's a significant difference in trading
and they
2
had
in-prime stars versus 1.
Yeah, they had 2 in-prime stars.
Yeah, and that's the part of this. And like they were like, well, you should be like the Jazz, you should be like the Thunder. I'm like, oh, you mean the 2 teams that traded away 2 in-prime stars? Yeah, I'd love to do that too. If I was going to reset, I would love to reset with that much draft capital. Be great. But in order to do that, you have to, 1, have your team embarrassed on national TV and have everybody basically ask out.
And I mean, I think this is the hard part though for fans, is that it's like, as you watch these games, you see a Utah, and then we hear, whether it is the Blazers front office or, I mean, you just said it too, in that the Blazers have all their assets. They have all their assets moving forward, and they have all these tradable assets. Well, then where's the move? And everybody's been waiting for that move. And I think that you hit the nail on the head around the trade deadline when you said this team is not an in-season trading team. No. We saw the Deni Avdija move this past offseason, which, I mean, if you say that move was not good in that you're not seeing the benefits of Deni Avdija and what he could mean, you're just not watching. And that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
It's fine.
But that was a very good move, because it was Malcolm Brogdon and Bub Carrington, essentially, was what that move was. And Deni is here on a de-escalating contract.
It's one of the best non-star contracts in the entire league.
He will be here for several years. That's a good one, right? Now you go, all right, what are the assets that are going to bring this team a big move? And that's where people are like, we don't want to live on that hill, right? Because
the idea of selling the hope of maybe you get lucky in the lottery sounds better. But the reality is that if you look at the draft since they've flattened out the odds, teams have bumped up and teams have fallen back every single year.
You just hope that you're Atlanta bumping up from, 10 up to...
And if the Blazers finish 8, 9, 10, I don't anticipate that happening.
Yeah.
The math is the math.
And that's where the frustration is.
No, and I get it, but that's... You weren't bad enough to be that bad, and again,
but you can make yourself bad enough to be there.
Yes,
and that's the thing. That's the thing that Utah did it last night.
Sure, Utah didn't do it last year though.
But and the draft was far different. This year they're like, okay, we've got. You can say it's like 4 guys, right? Solid 4.
There's one absolute dude, and then there's a group of guys that you think can be very good.
How many guys in this year's draft would be drafted over Alex Sarr? 5.
Yeah.
That's why you do it this year, right? And that's why everybody was excited about this year. It's like, all right, hey, if you're going to do it this year, to do it, right? And
it's a good class. There's no doubt about that.
You take that tumble knowing that the odds will be in your favor, and they're sure as heck manipulating their way to it. And there's a lot of people, and to what we talk about all the time, there's a lot of people that just aren't about that tank life.
No.
And we talked about at the beginning of the year. Well, they weren't when they were losing, and now that they're winning, they want to be about that tank life.
It's whatever you don't have, you want.
Yeah. That was look, they're going to probably pick up 2 more.
Yeah, I mean,
Washington next.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing the Wizards and
then
the Nets,
Brooklyn.
And the Nets literally lost to the Wizards last night. The Wizards did it, ladies and gentlemen.
They
got to double digits. They will not have the worst record in NBA history.
Hey, good for them, man. They were trending that way
in
a big way.
Yeah, I mean,
they were stuck on 4 forever.
I could have seen them losing every game for the rest of the season the way they're playing.
Well, they've won 4 of their last 10,
Mm-hmm.
so you never know.
There you go.
It could happen.
It could happen.
It could happen.
Just adding Marcus Smart was all they needed.
You know what? That's right.
Mm.
That's right. Oh, it was 6 wins. They were stuck on 6 wins. They picked up their 6th win on January 3rd. They did not get to win number 7 until February 1st.
God. That's so bad, man. It's so bad.
That is so bad.
Yeah.
They won 1 game in the month of January.
Look, I'm a proponent of them to turn the water off and increase those odds. I just don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah. It's a tough spot to be. But the Blazers did win, and Toumani Camara again confused officials with how good a defense he is.
He's very good at that.
That anytime I hear the rule of verticality,
Mm-hmm.
I just go back to that rule being just drilled into my head as a youth basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up rule
baby.
of verticality. If you are straight up and down, you will not be called for a foul. I totally was throughout my entire career. But Toumani Camara last night, airborne, and it was like there was a wall that he could not cross.
Yep.
He was moving laterally and was just straight up and down. They called a foul on him, and it was like, nope, review that, because we talked about this yesterday. He averages 3 fouls a game. That was his 4th foul. It's straight up, go to it, review it. They review it, and they're like,
oh,
wow, yep.
Was vertical.
The rule of verticality, no foul. He's so good at defense, the officials can't even believe he's that good at defense.
Did you hear Lamar's new nickname for him?
No.
Shadow.
Ooh.
The Shadow.
I like that.
I like it. Just stay in your shadow.
I like that.
He is your shadow.
Well, let's get to kind of the crux of the issue here. You heard a lot of this. You've been hearing a lot of this, and this text comes in on the Vancouver Ford text line. What's the point of drafting young players anyway if Portland just sits them behind vets? Shaedon Sharpe, he seems to be the focal point of that conversation for
something new to get mad about
for people right now. Yeah. We're gonna wind you up. We're gonna wind you up and let you go.
I'm already there.
Here's Rust with Sports Center.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers Unable to out-tank the Jazz last night in Salt Lake City. Now they move on to Washington to face the league's worst team in the Washington Wizards. That's tomorrow night. Blazers 25-33 on the season, 4.5 games out of the play-in, and the 9th worst record in the league. Plenty of action today in the NFL. Chiefs GM Brett Veach says the team expects tight end Travis Kelce to return for the 2025 season. The Bills and wide receiver Khalil Shakir have agreed to a 4-year extension, reportedly worth up to $60.2 million with $32 million guaranteed. Multiple reports say the Commanders have granted defensive tackle Jonathan Allen permission to seek a trade. Steelers GM Omar Khan said today the team wants to get a deal done with wide receiver George Pickens as he is set to enter the final year of his rookie contract. And Seahawks GM John Schneider announcing 9-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Jason Peters retiring after 19 seasons. Peters signed with the Bills after going undrafted in 2004 and later played for Philadelphia, Chicago, Dallas, and Seattle. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Welcome